Hi, my name is Mike Gresch. I work for Steve Brown Apartments at the University Square building in downtown Madison. I work on a 12-story building with about 1,000 residents and 500 people that work here daily. There's 12 businesses owned by different companies that are in the building. UW also owns part of the building. It's owned by like 3 or 4 different entities. So to that end, all these entities want to make sure that nobody slips and falls on the concrete, on the pavement outside. And with the Bobcat, we broom snow and ice away from the building.
Whenever you're ready.
So when I started the job several years ago, we used to spread salt all around the outside of the building in sort of a haphazard manner. We had to spread a lot more salt than I thought made sense. We had to store the salt, we had to move the salt, we had to dump it into a bin, we had to do all these things, and I said, this doesn't make sense. We're clearing this down to the pavement with a broom. Why don't we just put down really fine salt? And then I thought, well, if it's dissolved in water, then they have really fine salt. And one of the things that led me to believe that we could use brine was I could see parallel lines on the roads from where the city would put brine down. You'd count and there'd be about 8 or 10 lines. So on my brine system, I cut 8 or 10 holes for brine to make its way down to the pavement to hit the snow and melt the snow and ice. The brine that we make comes from the wet storage container over here to my right. We have to dump in probably 60 bags a week of salt, and that's what softens the water. Madison water is 24 to 25 grains hardness, and we want to get that down to 1 to 2 grains, largely for the comfort of residents, also to maintain the heat transfer in a water heater. If we have lime in our water heater, it's not as efficient, and water heaters break down when they fill up with lime. For a typical weather snow event, we might use 60 to 80 gallons of brine. If we catch it wrong, we might use 160 or so. Like, for example, the last event, we weren't able to broom right away, and so we didn't get right down to pavement. So I had to put down some additional brine to melt the snow, and then I had to broom over that to remove it, and finally put down another layer of brine to prevent the next snowfall from immediately sticking to the pavement. Per regeneration, I could capture about 500 to 600 gallons, and I honestly could automate it if I had the room for it. We do 2 to 3 regenerations per week, times 56 weeks, or 52 weeks rather. So, you know, that's a lot of that. We're loading brine into the Bobcat tank. This is a 125 gallon tank that I bought at Fleet Farm in Beaver Dam. It was $250 or something. It's well worth the money. I started with an IBC container that I had to cut down, and I couldn't see out the back of the vehicle, but with the smaller tank I can see out the back, and I've never really needed more than 100 gallons of brine at a time. So this is the setup we have is a garden hose that's running through this shutoff valve, and you can shut it off if we need to. And that's filling this tank fairly slowly. I'm using a transfer pump to go from the IBC containers to the tank on back of the Bobcat. So where the Bobcat tank is coming, where the brine is coming out is right here. I'll turn this on when I need to run brine, and you can see it starts to drip. Okay, and then we'll turn that off so we don't get the floor wet here. But